Cash flow is the number one concern for small businesses in 2026. And the business owners who actually move money faster are the ones that stay in the head. A lot of businesses are failing because they don't make money. They're failing because they can't control the timing of the money. What's good? It's your favorite businessman, CEO Rico, on Urban CEO Network, where we discuss real plays, real lessons, and real conversations. Make sure you lock in, subscribe, and drop a comment. Now let's jump into today's video. And today we're talking about something that can literally make or break your business in 2026, your cash flow system. Because right now, a lot of business owners are focused on making more money, but the real question, can your business actually manage the money correctly once it comes in? And that's where most people lose. Studies are actually showing that cash flow is becoming a bigger concern for small businesses than it was last year. But at the same time, over 90% of business owners still expect growth. The problem is most businesses are still operating with old money habits in a new financial environment. And today I want to break down a few things that smart business owners are doing right now to stay ahead financially and keep their business model healthy. Number one, keep your business money separate. Now here's a big thing when it comes to that, right? I still see people making this mistake, is mixing personal money with business money. Guys, let me tell you straight up, once you start operating a business, you definitely don't want to commingle the funds, because that's what it's called. It's called commingling funds. Biggest reasons is, one of the biggest things when it comes to like corporate structure and personal, right, is separation. Is something called what's called a corporate veil. Think of it as your business has a bulletproof vest on. It's armor, it's a shield to protect the business from personal and vice versa, right? Now I learned this a very long time ago, but you should not be paying business expenses out of your personal account every other day. That's just something you shouldn't be doing. The business expenses should strictly be coming out of a business account. Even though, you know, it's a little frustrating with the whole transfers and things like that, doesn't matter. You definitely should not have customers sending payments to your personal Cash App or random accounts. That's just a no-go. You got to think about the business as a whole, right? You want your business to look like an established, entity, an entity that's really like out here operating, generating revenue. It's basically like, think of it as a brand. You want to give that a presence of, an expert at what you're doing, that you're set up properly so people can trust you. Because remember this, people respect you for what they respect you for. So if people respect you as an individual that cuts hair, you're really good at cutting hair, and you jump into, let's say, landscaping, for instance, people are not just going to automatically do business with you because that's your brand is the barber, not the landscaper. Keep that in mind. People will do business with you for what they respect you for like what your craft, right? So you need to keep, business banking clean, keep all revenue going into one business bank account, super big. You want to keep track of all the numbers and things like that, right? Keep all business expenses coming out of that same account. That way you got a record of all the traffic in and traffic out, right? Makes your profit tracking easier, for one. It helps with taxes and, of course, bookkeeping. It makes your business look more legitimate. And the reason why this is important is because, and honestly, this is one of those things where I really, throughout my entire journey throughout life of being an entrepreneur, business owner, I started my very first business at 18. And one of the things that I constantly failed over and over again is, focusing on one business. So I would literally have, 2-3 different LLCs, and I'm trying to operate all of them. And I'm like, well, I can, do something here, do something here, and I build these businesses at the same time. Guys, I'm gonna tell you, that's some bullshit. You can't focus on multiple things at one time. It's like, you may get a one person that's an outlier who may be able to do something like that, but that's because, their situation and their environment kind of like was already cultivated for that, and they was just at the right place at the right time, and then bam, some shit happened, right? But in general, that's not you. I had to accept that for myself. How smart I feel about myself. I'm very intelligent, things like that. Talking to people can pick up on it like that, but that doesn't mean anything. So just focus on that one thing. Think of things as a vertical, like focus on that one thing, build that shit up, and then that's when we can start thinking about, branching off and width wise. But starting off, stick with this one thing, become a master at it, and go vertical. It helps a lot better. That's something that I really had to learn myself. And so, like I said, makes the business look more legitimate, of course, and then also helps with funding and approvals and financial reviews. Super, super, super big. Guys, when you get to the point where you already start looking at funding and you wanted to only look at, money, this is going to be something that's very big. Okay. So when your money is mixed together, you really cannot, you really can't see like how the business is performing, because the numbers is not telling the appropriate story that it needs to. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know if you're profitable or just surviving. And I understand this like so in depth, because like before I closed my dealership, my rental car service, they were, one and the same. I was heavy with the numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to pay attention to the money that's coming in, the money that's going out. You have to, because if not, you could be thinking, like, kid you not, like, the most money I ever made, like, let's just say a week, right? I made like $5,000 in 3 days, right? And, to some people, that's not nothing, but I don't care who you are. When you come in from the bottom, you get to a certain point, like, that's somebody's whole monthly check or 2-month check, and I did it in 3 days, right? But here's the thing, does not mean shit if you cannot hold that money. When that money came in, that money went right back out to expenses. So it does not matter how much money you make, it's about how much you can actually keep. Okay, super, super important. Number 2, right? So speed matters now. Once again, preaching to the choir with this one, because bro, it was always the worst timing when it came for me, when it comes to like moving money around. That's why I got so good with moving money around, because it was a skill that I learned and developed as time was going on, because I had to, out of necessity, right? So now here's another thing businesses are learning in 2026. They're learning that speed matters, right? So the business that can move money faster are operating more efficiently. And one thing you'll learn, especially like in the whole era of AI, things like that, efficiency matters. I just learned something today from a gentleman for the company that I actually work for. So I'm back W2, guys, but it's on a whole different level, right? I have to do this. I can't open my own brokerage until I get the experience. So have to be W2 right now, and I'm perfectly fine with it, while I still have my own business on the side, right? Which is not even on the side, it's the business brokerage. Y'all already know about that. That's really where it's at, right? But learn something from him. He was showing me it's a mouse, and like I never like dove into it, right? But what I was learning was like the mouse, you can basically create workflows from where you press a certain button on the mouse, and you can automatically have like different AI tools already plugged in, and it will actually go through and start and create the different things, and like each button got its own task. And it's like, it's irritating starting off when you building it, but bro, once you get the systems and everything down and you got everything as efficient, you start seeing like, what you once were spending, let's say 30 minutes on, that 30-minute task now just became 30 seconds. And because you decrease that time down so much, your efficiency just increased, which means your profitability just increased even more too, depending on what you're doing. So that's super big. So the businesses that move money faster are operating more efficiently. And this is where things like instant payment systems and FedNow are starting to like become more important. Now you got instant vendor payments, you got faster customer refunds, better payroll timing, you got improved cash availability, and less waiting on ACH transfers to clear. Every one of those instances that I just named, it has been a delay when it comes to getting your money, getting refunds to clients faster. I mean, granted, who wants to give a client a refund? But if you can collect the money from them like that, and you also can issue a refund back to them like that, it gets the money out of your account. It's already checked off. The accounts receivable and payables is now more up to date, a lot quicker, which if you need to make a move, you'll be able to make that move because you know the exact amount you already have. Super, super important. Now, if you got to wait 2 or 3 business days every single time money moves, that delay can start affecting operations, because basically you got money that's been held up that you have to account for. You already accounted for it being gone, right? But if it ain't even left yet and you start making moves, you never know where your actual money is at. You can have a transaction to where, let's say if you're doing like a large transaction, and let's just hypothetically say you had $1 million in refunds, and you only had, let's say you had 7.5 in the bank or whatever, right? Just easy numbers. $1 million of that is already supposed to be gone, so you only got 6.5. But you had a large transaction. You about to make the money back up. Doesn't even matter. You had a large transaction that needed to go through, and you need to transfer 7 million right now. Off rip, you can't even do it now, and you probably not even thinking. And that's why you're supposed to have people and things in place, but you're not thinking. You make the move, And damn, now something, you know what I'm saying, refund didn't go out, and now it's a whole delay. Now customer service and your brand and reputation is now being affected because of it, because money just took too long to, move. It doesn't make sense. So once again, like, this is super important when it comes to like bills, payroll, inventory, vendors, all it can hit at once. And I've been in situations where shit literally hit at once. And man, listen, don't make me blow a gasket in here. You see, I ain't got no damn hair as it is. Don't make me blow another one. All right. So real-time money movement, it gives businesses more flexibility and visibility. Super important. Number 3, right? Cash reserves. So another major issue right now, a lot of businesses do not have enough cash revenues, and it's dangerous. Right? Biggest reason is because, like, let's say you got a slow month, one, you got some unexpected expenses, or you got a delay in a client payment, or it can create some serious problems, right? Just from these different situations that's going on. That's why I always encourage businesses to go secure like financing or funding, and you don't even got to necessarily like some people like, oh, I got money, stuff like that. It's like, that's cool, it's that I got you. But depending on what your industry is and what you're in, you have those ups and you have those downs. So it's like, why not already have a nest egg over here just sitting, just in case, right? I'll give you a perfect example. So you got a food truck. Now let's say they got this weekend that's coming up, and they got to hire some people. Let's say their grand opening day, something happened. Let's say they hired all the people, they bought all the food, they bought everything, and they literally got like $20 in a business account, and they still got to pay, and they was going to pay let's say their employees or whoever at the end of the day. Well, something happened to where, let's say in the middle, or something happened with the event they was at, whatever. They didn't make what they were expecting to make. Well, now you just put yourself as a business owner in a situation, because you still have people that you got to still take care of. You still got bills you still need to pay. And granted, you were waiting on the funds to become available because you knew you was going to make it at the end. But it's like, now what to do? But if you already had that nest egg sitting on the side, it's like, you know what? It's cool. Let me go ahead and, take care of all these people. It's only like 10, 15,000 for the day. Cool. Cause I was already going to make, 35 for the day. And, I'll just do it tomorrow, make that money back tomorrow, pay this back off. There's no interest being paid, whatever. Or if it's zero interest, whatever the situation, does not matter. So if you had that situation, it makes it a lot less stressful. Some people, when they got money, they always look at it as like, oh, I got money, I can just use my money. It's like, yeah, you can, but would you rather already just have the money available in case anything was to come up, you already ready to make a move, versus you got to get ready to be ready? You know what I'm saying? So many businesses, they operating with only like 3 months of reserves. You know what I'm saying? So emergency funds, those matter in business too, heavily. This is important, like super, super heavy, right? So cash reserves create like the stability and the leverage, as I was just explaining. It also gives you breathing room during slow periods. That's why I like when like as a business, I have a business brokerage. So as a business specialist, business banker, I'm sourcing the funds to get all these different things for you, right? Some people ask, like, why not just go to a bank? I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of the people that's in the finance industry, we know banks can move slow as shit. Literally. It's a reason why like banks, like, so word is banks are supposedly getting back into like the mortgage industry for real. The big dogs is not worried about the banks. Because you telling me that this lender over here, that's not a banking institution, it's just a mortgage lender, they're closing, let's say hypothetically, a refinance, and legally I think it was 11 days, you got 8 days. And so if the banks is closing, if the lender institution is closing, like I say, so the LE, so it's a thing called TRIA, right? I'm just give you a quick rundown. It's a thing called TRIA. It's TILA RESPA Integrated Disclosures Act. Right, true. And basically it's time frames on when things can be done. So from the LE to closing, it has to be a minimum of 7 days. Sunday you can't include, so that's 8. And then you got what's called a right of rescission only on primary and property, where you got an additional 3 days, right? And then you can fund, so 7 is 10. So let's just say 11, right? So with that being said, if the lender can close in 11 days on a refinance, which means you already pretty much got a lot of stuff already done, and then you go over to a bank and it takes them a month and a half to close. It's like, bro, the banks, they not about to get back in here and get busy, so they can be slow, but people don't really like, and where we live right now in this era, we don't like things slow. Shoot, you remember when deliveries used to, for a package used to take like 7 days? Bro, Amazon got people spoiled, man. Like, if I get my package If my package don't come in 2 days, I'm pretty upset. I'm just not even gonna hold you up. It's the reason why I pay for Prime. That's just what it is, right? So those are things you gotta think about when it comes like to speed and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It gives you that flexibility, right? So a business with no reserve money is always operating emotionally. And that's one of the things you don't want to be operating when it comes to business. You don't want to operate from an emotional standpoint because you no longer have leverage. You know, it's like you're desperate for the transaction. And in business, you never, ever, ever put emphasis on this never part. You don't want to be desperate, because when a client or another business or whatever, they see that desperation, they feel that desperation, oh, they know they got you hooked. They know they got you hooked. So don't be desperate. I understand it's tough sometimes, but you want to be in that position. Every unexpected expense feels like a crisis as well. And it's a real headache. You know what I'm saying? And that pressure can cause bad decisions. You can literally be under pressure. You know, you desperate. You can make a decision where it's like, bro, you made this decision, you got yourself into something, and literally it would have worked itself out within a short period of time, but because you were under that emotional dilemma, now you just put yourself in a bad situation. AI and automation. So now this next one is really big, super big, right? Especially for the small business owners that are doing everything themselves. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I love AI. I don't care what anyone has to say about it. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that, you know, there always is a pro and a con to everything. There's always good and bad. Yes, AI is one of these things where it's like, if you think about it, you basically created a supercomputer that knows everything. And once you give it the ability to start thinking on its own, yeah, you effed, right? I get it. But it's also one of those things where it's like, why not be on that path to change when it's going to be here regardless? So it's kind of like AI is here to help everything be better. Straight up. You can keep more money in your pocket. You can build things faster. You can become more efficient. You can do things on your own. You can literally have an AI bot handling phone calls, messaging people, going through your emails, doing all these different things. You can literally feel like be a business with 25 employees, but you really don't even have 25 people. You're not paying 25 people. You get what I'm saying? Now, on one end, some people will be upset about it, but you know, we talk about keeping more money in our pocket over here. We talking about being an entrepreneur. We talking about business. So it's like, that's where we focus at over here, right? This is for entrepreneurs, CEOs. You know what I'm saying? Remember, CEO stands for creating executive opportunities. So we are business people, right? So AI automation is helping businesses manage money smarter, right? So automating invoices, payment reminders, expense tracking, forecasting future cash flows from, you know, what we've done previously, and you know, our fluctuations throughout the season. It gives you a future cash flow where you can actually project, like, okay, well, typically we slow around these months, so maybe we should, you know, secure some financing to float us over this month, because we know when it comes back into, you know what I'm saying, you know, our season where we back out there making money, our sales skyrocket, so we know we'll be able to afford all this with no problem. We can predict slow season and trends. And honestly, the businesses using automation are saving time and making better financial decisions a lot faster, because they're able to execute exponentially faster than their competitor. And I mean, literally, like, if you can make a decision, let's say you just being able to make decisions one day faster, that's 24 hours that you're getting back. If you're doing that, you know, multiple times, think about how much money you can save, and think about how much time you can save, and now you can start doing something completely different. So really big, right? So even back to what I was saying, as far as like they are able to make those decisions faster, they'll be able to make, you know, seeing problems before the problems even happen. So that's something that you really want to stay on top of. Now let's transition over to business. Banking is a strategy. This is going to be really big, okay? So I really want you guys to pay attention here, okay? And this is probably like the biggest mindset shift that I want you to understand, because business banking is not just a place to store money anymore. That's not where it's at. You're not just parking your money inside of a bank and just be like, oh yeah, this, you know, I got my money over here. No, you need to be real strategic on how, you know, you got your money sitting in places, because with our centralized banking system, there's something that's called fractionalized banking. What a lot of people don't understand is, and I've tried to like help people like that's not business owners, but just understanding like as far as like paying taxes and things like that. One of the biggest things when it comes to like an employee and then a business owner is like, the employee is yeah, it's cool to get a refund check at the end of the year. That's cool. But here's my question to you as an employee. Does anybody ever allow you to borrow money at no cost? The answer is automatically no. Nobody allows you to borrow money at no cost. So if nobody's allowing you to borrow money at no cost, why are you allowing them to borrow your money free, because that's literally what tax is, and that's what you're doing. You're letting them hold on to your money all year. Then when they see, oh, it's overpaid, you overpaid us because of all these credits and deductions and blah blah blah. Now let's give you this money back. So why would you want your bank? Why would you want your money to sit inside of a bank account? And they're doing the same thing. They're lending your money out. So you can. Let's just use the example of a certificate of a deposit. You're going to get a certain interest rate on top of your money. But if you was to go in there, you got great credit, all like that. If you was to go in there into the bank, borrow the same amount of money that you put into the CD, they're going to charge you. Let's say they only giving you, I don't even know what CD rates are today. CD rate, I know they're not 1% yet, or I know they nowhere near 2%. So let's just say they're 1%. You're not going to go into a banking institution. If you put $10,000 in there, you're only going to make 1%. So that's only $100. Listen, if anybody's putting their money in CDs, I don't know what, man, listen, that's stupid. I don't care. It's stupid. You go back in there and take that same $10,000 out, whether you do it in a credit card or whatever, you're going to pay interest on that money. You go get a loan. You go put 10 grand in and you turn right back around same day, 2 minutes later, you get a loan. You're going to pay 5, 6, 7% on top of your money. So if you got to pay for it right away, why do they get to get your money for free? Just think about that. But like I say, so the business bank is not a place to store your money anymore. It's a strategy tool, right? So let's break down the strategy. You got faster visibility into your finances, of course. You got better financial decisions that you can make. You got easier scaling, cleaner reporting, and a stronger positioning for funding and growth. Why? Because the banking institution that you're with, you're building a relationship with them, right? You're like, they see the inflows, the outflows, they see all these things. So it's like, it gives them, when you actually go to try to get funding from them, it gives a better picture of what's going on, because it's like, I got money in here, I do a lot of my business with you, and they're trying to retain you within their ecosystem to continue to lend. Remember, banks, that's where they make their money at. So many people get so upset about the banks and how they do what they do. And it's like, when you understand how they do what they do and why they do what they do, you no longer get upset, because you're now a part of the game and you understand how the game works. When you don't understand how the game works, that's when you get really pissed. But I'm telling you, the content is everywhere. Just start diving into it, because it's going to affect you. Business owner or not, it's going to affect you. It's money. Everybody needs money. So why not everybody start to learn more about money, right? The businesses winning right now are watching their numbers in real time. They're not watching it at the end of the month. They're not looking for just for the bank statements to come out. And then it's like, you know, after the damage is done, like it's done already. There's nothing you can do about it. But if you see stuff going on actively, real time, you're able to pivot and make changes right when you need to. So you want to stay on top of that too, okay? Because the business banking relationships is super important too. They know where their money is going every single day. If you got the instant alerts on, you know in and out where it's going, right? So if you're serious about growing your business 2026, you know what I'm saying, you have to tighten up, you know, your money systems. Super big. It's not about just making money, but managing money better, keeping money, keeping it in there, making it work for you, because cash flow is like a lifeline of every business, and the businesses that control the cash flow can control the growth, right? So if this video helped you, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're building a business right now and you want help structuring the business the right way financially, make sure you reach out to me. I can assist you. I can get you the necessary capital that you need to build the business the right way. That way you can market the right way. And marketing is the bloodline of your business as well. Even when we talking about money, if nobody can find you, how can you satisfy and serve your client? You can't. So make sure you hit that link in the description. You can go to ceofunding.solutions.com if you want to check out my site and see how I can help you. And I'll get at y'all in the next video. Peace.